This is Ross Feingold on the Taiwan Hashtag program, coming to you from Taipei, Taiwan, hosted by the Storm Media Group. Today we're going to talk a bit about a very serious topic, which is PRC, People's Republic of China, alleged spying activities here in Taiwan, meddling in Taiwan politics, elections, media. And why is this in the news? Well, it's been in the news for a long time, of course. There are lots of accusations going back many years, but most significantly in the local election in 2018 in Taiwan, where the Kuomintang did very well, and the governing Democratic Progressive Party at the central government level controls the presidency, controls the legislative yuan, did very poorly in the local election. Around the period of the election, both before and after, lots of accusations that the very successful election result for the Kuomintang was because of interference, meddling by China, that China was putting a lot of fake news into the atmosphere, into the Twitter sphere, the talkosphere. Talking heads on Taiwan TV have been paid off by China. Lots of people on Facebook or YouTube making or writing nice comments about Kuomintang candidates were actually from overseas, not from here in Taiwan. They were from China. They were sitting in Malaysia and other places. Media just generally very friendly to the Kuomintang, anti-DPP. Is that narrative really true? Well, of course, we know that lots of what's called the Wu Mao, the Chinese netizens that are funded by the government, do write nice things about Kuomintang candidates. They do criticize President Tsai Ing-wen and the DPP. A lot of that goes on. Does that explain why the DPP did so poorly in last November's local election? Of course not. They did poorly because the voters simply liked the alternative. They were mad at the DPP at the central government level over a number of issues, and they took it out at the local level. They took it out on the candidates of the DPP in big cities such as Kaohsiung, Taichung, and Taipei City. Three big cities where the DPP candidates lost. In the case of Kaohsiung, the DPP was the party in incumbency, and in Taichung, the candidate for the DPP was the incumbent mayor. So yes, there was definitely interference from China, but no, it doesn't dispositively prove that's why the voters voted the way they did last November. And for the same reason, this year, we see a better performance by the DPP at the central government level, and their poll numbers are, no surprise, increasing significantly to the point where Tsai Ing-wen has a very large lead over her opponent, Kuo-yu of the Kuomintang, and it looks very likely that she will be re-elected to a second term. So that brings us to Wang Liqiang. Oh, Wang Liqiang, who are you? We don't really know. This is a young man, and he looks very young, even younger than his alleged 27 years old. He suddenly appeared on television in Australia recently with great tales of his activities as an intelligence operative working for a company in Hong Kong, which was allegedly a front and was sending him on missions all over Asia to interfere in local politics and elections and gather intelligence. He even claimed to be involved in the kidnapping of bookstore owners in Hong Kong, which is one of the concerns of protesters in Hong Kong, as an example of China's encroachment on Hong Kong's autonomy. So Wang Liqiang claiming his involvement in all these very, very scary things, and certainly a dangerous thing for Taiwan to have China interfering to the extent that's been alleged and that Wang Liqiang was claiming involvement in. But is it true? Unfortunately, we don't know if he's the person who he really claims to be. I mean, we know that China does these things. No one's going to dispute that. But is Wang Liqiang really the person who's involved? Well, of course, China denies it. No surprise. They immediately produced a video allegedly of Wang Liqiang in court in 2016 where he was involved in a fraud case. They then said that earlier this year in 2019, he was wanted. So he's gone on the run. He's absconded from China. That he's also wanted again for another alleged fraud case. Understandably, Wang Liqiang responded by saying, no surprise. Of course, they're going to try and accuse me of all sorts of wrongdoing and say I'm not the person that I claim to be. Coincidentally, this Hong Kong company that Wang Liqiang said he worked for, The chairman of the company was here in Taipei with his wife. Why were they here? Were they here doing mysterious spy activities? Well, if they were, they aren't very good, because it's not like they snuck into Taiwan, right? So they were here under their name. They weren't, as far as we know. The authorities haven't said that they were here under aliases. So they entered Taiwan under their own name. Is this the action of people who knew that one of their own operatives has defected to Australia? Well, obviously not. So this looks a little suspicious as far as Wang Liqiang's story. I mean, if he really was defecting to Australia as a spy, why would the gentleman who's the chairman of the alleged front company and his wife come to Taiwan at the same time that Wang Liqiang is going on TV in Australia saying, I work for this guy and he's running a major intelligence gathering operation out of Hong Kong that's interfering in Taiwan's politics and media. So that part of the story looks a little suspicious. Here's another suspicious part. The Taiwan National Immigration Agency said we have no record of Wang Liqiang entering Taiwan during the period that he claims that he entered Taiwan. So Wang Liqiang, he produced a passport from Korea. He produced an ID card from Hong Kong. Now, of course, the authorities in China are saying those are all fake. People on the internet have pointed out some things that look suspicious about the passport. Now, if you really did have a Korean passport, obviously it would be a doctored one, so it might be a real passport that was fraudulently adjusted by whoever he's working for, or he could have just produced this using Photoshop. Who knows what the real story is, because there's so many doubts about his story. So he produced these documents. He said, I entered Taiwan. The authorities in Taiwan said, at least during that period that he's claimed to have been in Taiwan, in his media interviews in Australia, he didn't come into Taiwan using those documents. So Taiwan has no recent record of Wang entering Taiwan when he claims that he entered Taiwan. Now, maybe he entered earlier. That still remains to be seen. Maybe he entered using a different name, different ID, but he didn't produce any other IDs under which he allegedly entered Taiwan. So another doubt about his story. And this Xiang Xin, the chairman of the Hong Kong company, well, again, he didn't come to Taiwan using an alias. His wife isn't using an alias. They seem to have legally entered Taiwan using their Hong Kong IDs. It's pretty easy for Hong Kong ID holders to enter Taiwan, and people in Taiwan in recent days have pointed out that maybe this needs to be revisited, and that could be a fair point for further follow-up. But online application for a visa, obviously the Taiwan side hadn't flagged this person as somebody who shouldn't be admitted into Taiwan, so that is something probably for the Taiwan side to follow up on as well, if this guy really was connected to Chinese intelligence. And in fact, the company that he runs in Hong Kong has publicly said that part of their business is to buy certain kinds of dual-use technologies for re-export into China, for sale to military agencies into China. So you got to wonder, Taiwan, why didn't you blacklist this guy? If he's publicly known to be involved in the purchase of technologies that are sold to the Chinese military, then you should have blacklisted him. Anyway, he came into Taiwan legally with his wife. Why were they here? We don't know. They've been detained. They haven't been formally charged with a crime yet, at least as of today. They're under suspicion, at least according to what little information the authorities are releasing, of possibly being witnesses to a crime. So maybe they do know something about China's nefarious activities. Maybe they were involved, and if they are, they should be prosecuted. Let's hope that the Taiwan prosecutors will bring very serious charges if there is evidence to prove that they are involved in illegal activities, activities that violate Taiwan's law. The problem is we haven't really seen any evidence, at least publicly, to prove this yet. All we really have are Wang Liqiang's allegations, many of which have been pointed out, at least here in Taiwan. So let's look at this from a Taiwan perspective. Don't just focus on what the Australia media says or Hong Kong media. Remember, Hong Kong media right now, there's so much dislike for the government that you have a lot of media in Hong Kong. They'll report a lot of things that are not necessarily true, but it fits their narrative of being critical of China or of the Hong Kong government. Here in Taiwan, a lot of former intelligence officials have pointed out inconsistencies in Wang Liqiang's story. Things such as he looks too young, or he is too young to have been involved in all these operations that he claims to have been involved with. If he really was part of China's intelligence apparatus, why are his wife and child living in Australia? Typically, China would keep them hostage in China just so they could prevent the intelligence operative from defecting, like Wang Liqiang is alleging. Other parts of his story that seems to be inconsistent includes which agency was he even really working for. So experts here in Taiwan have pointed out that the operations that he allegedly claims to be involved in wouldn't be the work of the agencies he's claimed to be attached to, that China segregates the different kinds of operations. But Wang Liqiang, sometimes he's saying, I'm involved with military intelligence, but these aren't activities that the military intelligence agencies of China would necessarily be involved in. So there are a lot of things about Wang Liqiang's story that we just don't know the answers to. Who should tell us the answers? Well, again, the Taiwan authorities, prosecutors, the intelligence agencies, National Security Bureau. This falls within their purview. Again, hopefully they got this Xiang Xin and his wife. Hopefully, if they find something that they did wrong that is related to intelligence, they'll prosecute them. If Australia can establish that Wang Liqiang really is who he says he is, that'll be very helpful as well, so that we, the public and the voters here in Taiwan before the election on January 11th could also know the truth and know for a fact that China had sent this person to be involved in meddling in Taiwan's election. So rather than a lot of conjecture, let's hope that the governments involved, Australia and Taiwan, could give us some real facts so we could get away from all the allegations, the conjecture, the doubts, the fake news, the true news, and really find out the truth about Wang Liqiang, spy or fraud. Hopefully we'll know soon. I'm Ross Feingold, and you've been watching Taiwan Hashtag, hosted by Storm Media.